Hey everybody, Dr. Brenda, money coach and the creator of the Gutsy Women Club, where women dare to dream and take bold actions to follow their heart's journey. So speaking of dreaming and the journey, sometimes things don't go as planned. So I'm inside my RV. I am parked amongst a bunch of big semis. I probably shouldn't be here, but I had to pull off of the freeway, and this looked like a pretty safe place to stop. So up here is a tire monitoring system. I turned it off because the alarm started to go off. Anyway, it's set up for the four tires, okay? And I started to lose pressure in the driver's side rear inside tire very quickly. And so the alarm went off, and fortunately I was about a mile from the freeway exit. And so I pulled off. I'm sitting behind a Hardee's. So anyway, I went out, checked to see what the situation was, and I could hear all of the air just leaking out of the tire. So I went to adjust it, and I knew when I started it was at 80 psi, so I knew it was totally full. So I thought, okay, maybe I need to just tighten the valve stem on it. Okay, can you see this? That's not real good. So it came right off. So this is the tire pressure monitoring system. And so I have called roadside service. I have Good Sam roadside assistance. I have a spare tire underneath here, and so they are going to come out. I don't know how long it's going to take. The last time I waited 5 hours. I did get on the road pretty early, so yeah, so I'm parked with these trucks. They probably have business here, and I'm just taking up space. But anyway, it's off of the road. And seemed like the safest option. So you do have to make some pretty quick decisions. And I'll tell you what, I don't know that I would have known, because it is the rear inside tire. If I did not have this tire pressure monitoring system, I mean this to give me the heads up and the warning, I don't know how long I might have driven on a flat. I mean, it went flat very quickly, but because you have the second wheel, I couldn't notice any difference in the driving. So, you know, if you're thinking about, like, I mean, the tires are the most important thing. I have an air compressor inside, so I actually, you know, filled everything up at 80 psi yesterday. So again, I knew that the psi was good when I started out, and I'm probably only, you know, I've been on the road for maybe just half an hour, so something happens. So anyway, yeah, so what I'm gonna put a link to the tire monitoring system that I use in the discussion, and I really, you know, recommend it, because yeah, this can really save your skin. It was I could watch the pressure go down, the PSI go down very quickly. And, you know, I mean, this is what it's about. You go out and you try to live the life you want, but, you know, stuff happens. And, you know, between roadside assistance, tire monitoring system, and being able to handle some of the things myself. So actually, this is my tire compressor down here, and I've been, you know, getting pretty good at using that. So anyway, it's going to be, I'll have a delay, but better to get help and get this thing fixed and get on the road. And I should still be able to make my destination. It's, I've got probably another 250 miles to go or so, so that's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. So anyway, that's it. If you want to follow along the journey, the good, the bad, the ugly, the fantastic, hey, just subscribe. You never know what you're going to get into from one day to the next. So you take care, and if you can, you know, join us at the Gutsy Women Club. Over and out. Bye-bye. Hey there. This is part 2. Okay, so I filmed along the parking area, and this morning with my flat tire, and I've now made it to the park, so that's the good news. So I've been on the road for about 8 hours, much longer than I had hoped, but I've got working tires again. So here's what happened. The service technician popped over about 45 minutes after I called. So that's not bad. He took off. I put the jacks down. He jacked up the back end, took off both rear tires, and was going to put the spare on, which is underneath the RV. He could not get it out. It was too rusted, I guess, the whatever holds it there. And he's like, look, all you need to do is get a new valve stem. So I went with him to the tire place, maybe half a mile away, so at least it wasn't a far drive. And they quickly put in a new tire valve, and we were back to the RV, and he put the tires back on. So I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. I'm ready to roll. And I asked him about, don't you need to inflate it? And he's like, well, they did that at the tire shop. Okay, you know where this is going? You know this is going? Yeah, you probably do. So he's, we're finishing up. I leave him a really big tip. Oh, let me see if I can show you this. So this morning I showed you the the tire monitoring system, and I had this long valve extension, so I was able to easily fill up check the tire pressure and fill up the tire when I needed to. So that no longer went back on. So I had a 2-inch extension, so I asked him to put that on. I'm going to see if I can show it to you, because this plays into the story of my lovely Tuesday. Yeah, it's right up here. So you see how I can't even really get to that valve system. It's just too close in. So I'm going to have to, when I stop and get to an RV place, I'm going to have to buy another extension. Hopefully there's a 1-inch. Otherwise I'm going to go with a 2-inch extension. So anyway, he takes off. I put the jacks up, plug the tire monitoring system back in. I'm like, okay, well, that's not too bad. That was about 2 hours gone. And guess what? The alarm goes off again on the tire monitoring system. So remember, I asked about inflation, right? I should have checked. I should have, while he was there, I should have gotten out my own stuff. I shouldn't have to do that, but I should have. So the tire monitoring system, the alarm is going off. The PSI on the tire that he just put on is 65. It's supposed to be 80. Okay, so he just left. It is probably 2 minutes since he left. So if you've ever dealt with roadside assistance, now you're probably going to know what's coming up again. So I'm going to tell you what, I'm pretty calm and understanding of mistakes, incompetence, not so, inabilities, bad systems, lack of communication. Man, I lost it. I have only lost my cool probably twice in the last 4+ months that I've been on the road, and both times the receiving end has been good Sam roadside assistance. So I called the same number I called at 9:50 this morning, explain, hey, your dude just left. Can you turn him around and tell him to fill up the, inflate the tire? It doesn't work like that, people. Does not work like that. So I have to give him practically everything except for my fingerprints, spell my last name 3 times. Yeah, it's not an easy last name. Give him my phone number. Give him my vehicle. He can't find me in the system. I pull out my card. I give him the card number and explain that, hey, this guy I'm in Crestview, Florida. This, guy just left. And he can't find me. They have no record that I've been on the phone with them this morning. he said, oh, well, we just have something from June. I had to read off the last 8 digits of my VIN. Like, like, okay, now I've got to dig out paper to get you this information. I just couldn't believe it. And in the end, what was the response? Well, we can send somebody out there for you in 2 hours, or you can just, take it in and go to a tire place and have them fill it up. So I'm like, thanks a lot, good Sam. So obviously they've never driven an RV, and you don't always find, like the tire place I just left, there's no way I could have gotten my RV in that parking lot. No way. So I had to think about what are my options. I have my air compressor, but given that tight fit I just showed you, I knew I wasn't going to get the nozzle on it. I knew I wasn't going to be able to pump it up. I could try to take off and just, find some place, but then I'm driving worried, and I don't know, I don't know the area. Where am I going to go? Make some calls, waste more time, wait 2 hours for another tire guy to come by? No. So here's what I did. Let me show you what I did. Okay, so I carry my bicycle. My bicycle is on the back, and before I hit the road, I did a little upgrade, okay? So, oh yes, folks, oh yes, I used a bicycle pump. So if you can see this has a tire pressure gauge on it, and I upgraded so that I could easily do that without going, checking, taking it off and checking. And so, yeah, I pumped up my RV tire with my bicycle pump, and didn't have a heart attack. And it took a while, but it probably only set me back about 10 minutes versus the hours it would have taken to either wait or to find a place. So, oh yeah, 8 hours on the road. So anyway, the good news is, what a beautiful break in the weather. I've got my sweatshirt on. I started in Florida, went through Alabama, Mississippi, now I'm in Louisiana. I'm right along a river. I'm a little sad because this is my last state park of the year. I'm in private campgrounds for the rest of the year, and I have really enjoyed the feel of the state parks. But I've got another long drive tomorrow, and then Thursday another drive before I'm at my campground for 2 months. And I gotta tell you what, there's not soda pop in here, folks. I think it's time for a really cold beer. And all right, folks, so I'm here, and just a couple of tips. Check that tire pressure yourself. Don't let the guy leave. Don't use Good Sam roadside assistance if you don't have to. Have cold beer. Get some cold beer when you get some gas on days like today. Keep a bicycle pump around. Alrighty, so I hope you're doing well, and please, follow along my journey with the cats, and who knows what else is going to happen yet, but subscribe, and don't forget, check out my gutsywomen.club. And oh yeah, I was leaving the campground this morning, and the guy was teasing another driver. He's like, you're driving like a little girl sissy. A little sissy girl. You're driving, don't be driving like a sissy girl. And I'm there, and I'm like, some of us sissy girls can drive a hell of a lot better than some of you boys. So, you better watch what you're saying. So, anyway, yeah. So if you've had experience like that, Gutsy Women Club, we got to stick together, girls. All right, the saga ends for the night, I hope. You take care.